I'm going to give him an offer he can't refuse. That is literally the theme of this episode because honestly, my favorite hometown was Maria's because I was just laughing the whole time. Like I was plain laughing through half of it, and not because it was like bad. It was just because it was genuinely funny the way it was edited, and I loved every second of it, guys. This episode of The Bachelor was good. I didn't mind it. Obviously, hometowns to me always kind of feel very repetitive. After a while, I'm kind of just like, okay, here's Joey, here's the Bachelor, just saying the same thing over and over and over again to each family. And each family is concerned, like, oh, my daughter, or oh, my boy, or whatever it is, right? It happens every season. It's just kind of a little bit the same of everything. But you do get to see the dynamic of these, women with their families and how Joey would, fit in with them. Now, the Bachelor hometowns, like I said, they always to me are kind of just like they're an okay episode. It sometimes can be a little bit boring, but this one wasn't boring. I did feel though that the two people that had the better kind of setup were the two people who I think are going to be the top two. Just because I'm pretty sure Joey's like can tell. I think pretty sure Joey has told producers like, yeah, these are my top two for sure. And that's why they're kind of giving them the better dates, give them the like better hometown. So yeah, but let's get straight into it. So this recap, I'm just going to go hometown by hometown, obviously trying to, cause I like to keep it real here. The whole beats to beats thing sometimes can get a little bit like, I just want to get to my feelings. I just want to get to what happened, the drama, the stuff, right? So the first episode, obviously starts off with Maria's family, dun dun dun, with oh my god, the dad, and they're really like making it seem that Maria's dad's gonna be like the big head honcho that Joey's gonna have to overcome, right? That was not the case, but anyway. The first hometown was Kelsey, and Kelsey's hometown to me, the word I'm going to use for Kelsey's hometown was emotional. All that happened in that hometown was crying. There was a lot of crying, there was a lot of sadness, and it made sense, obviously. We all know that Kelsey lost her mom a couple of years ago. I think it was a couple. I can't actually don't really know how long it's been. I can't remember. But she lost her mom a while ago, and she's really sad that her mom's not here to meet Joey, and it's just a lot. Obviously, she lost her mom. She loved her mom. Clearly, they were very, very close, and it's been a lot on her and her family. And throughout the day, like her and like Joey are seeing butterflies everywhere. And before, Kelsey had said that when she sees butterflies, it reminds her. She believes that it's like a way of her mom saying like I'm here, right? Because her mom loves butterflies, and every single time she sees one, it's like her mom is around, which is very sweet. And obviously, there were butterflies everywhere. And yeah, like the date was pretty much just her being like, I'm really sad that my mom isn't here. And as sad as that is, because I'm not undermining that, that is very sad. But after a while, I was kind of just like, oh god, this is too sad. Like I need some happiness to come, right? But overall, like her family was really, really sweet. Her dad was very sweet. Obviously, he asked the questions like, hey, this is my daughter, are you going to be the one? All these questions, they're just like trying to get at Joey. But Joey just always like knows how to answer everything really well. He listens. You could tell he's very kind of just like, yeah. He's like, no, I don't take this likely, but I am hopeful. His favorite word to use this episode was, I'm hopeful. For every single woman, he said to their parents, no, we haven't said X, Y, and Z, but I'm hopeful. And I'm like, oh, here we go, the copy and paste answers. But personally, I do still think that Kelsey and him have a very, very good connection. I do think that she's going to be in the top two, if not winning. I guess we'll see what the next episode brings, but like I'm pretty sure I know she's going to be the top two, and I think she actually might be the winner, but I don't know. Daisy is also could also be the one. So we will see. But overall, I did like their date. I think he got to really experience New Orleans with her and kind of see what her life is about, how she lives her life in New Orleans. It was very sweet, very, very cute. And you can see he kind of, in my opinion, I think a lot of people don't see it, but I think he really does light up around Kelsey. I think he really does love her energy, which is absolutely infectious. Like I love her energy. Evan from mom and dad, your mom and dad podcast always gives like the best things, but he's just like, what I love about her is that like she just looks like someone who just like came out into the world for the first time. Like she sees a butterfly and she's like, oh my God, it's a butterfly. Oh my God, we're gonna go skinny dipping. Like it's like she's never seen these things. And it's actually very true. And I thought it was hilarious because like now I can't unsee it because it's so true. Everything she sees, everything they do, it's always like, oh my God, like we're good. It's hilarious. It is so good. But Kelsey, and I did also really like that Kelsey and her dad had a really lovely conversation where the dad really mentioned, talked about how he wants her to feel, you know, the or have the kind of love that him and his mom had. And I was like, oh, him and his mom, him and his wife had, which,
I want all of you to feel that that feeling I had with your mom, because it's like the best thing in the world.
It's crazy. Oh my God, I'm gonna cry.
my God. Like losing your person must be like the worst feeling in the world. And that reminds me of the Golden Bachelor. So I'm just like, oh my God, like the Golden Bachelor was so sad because you had all these people, you know, you had the Bachelor and Teresa ended up becoming the winner, you know, losing their like high school sweethearts. Like that is devastating. But just seeing him like tear up and both of them tear up together and you could just see the love in the room. It was so nice to see. But yeah, it was just like a lot of crying and I was like, okay, well, let's get to some happiness. So that part was pretty hard for me to watch. And then, of course, they did go through this photo album that her dad brought, and he got to see what her mom looked like, and it was really, really sweet. But somebody said that Kelsey and Daisy had their hometown date, like in their actual hometown. Now, I don't know, though. Kelsey was in her hometown, but I'm not sure if that was her house, because if it was her house, he would just have walked in and there would be pictures of her mom everywhere. But he was like, hey, I brought an album. Like, I'm bringing this here to you. I don't know. It gave me a vibe that wasn't like her home. But people were saying like, oh, yeah, they went to their houses, but they didn't go to Rachel and Maria's houses. And I'm like, that's true. But I was like, I felt like the only person they actually they went to someone's house, like real house, was Daisy. Because she lives on a freaking Christmas tree farm. But other than that, I felt like everyone else did have like a fake, like an Airbnb or something that they rented, right? Or somebody else's apartment and not necessarily like where she lives with her family, but regardless. Anyway, moving on. Oh yeah, I know. By the way, his dad does. Her dad. Oh my God, bleh. Her dad does think that that Joey would take care of her, and that if Kelsey feels like it is right, then he will support her. And I'm like, love it, love it, love it. Joey at the end, they had like a really nice embrace. They kissed and it was really nice. She, you know, of course told him again that she's like, you know, still falling in love with him and all this stuff. And he says he feels right with her and that they left this date stronger. After that, I was like, yeah, she's definitely making it. Not worried about her. Then we move on to Rachel's hometown, whose word I'm going to say was culturally diverse. Culture, or just culture. It was so nice to see culture represented on the TV compared to everyone else. No offense to everyone else's, like hers was the most cultural and I loved it. Seeing her Filipino family and the Hawaii. I love the way they say Hawaii because they don't just say Hawaii, they say Hawaii. I love it. Makes me so happy. But Rachel, I will notice on this hometown date, was very nervous. This was the first time we ever saw her so uneasy, so emotional. For like this whole season, she has been smooth sailing, like very just coasting, no issues, nothing. This was the first time we saw her like break down, like crying, like the whole episode. And not necessarily that it was like negative, but just like emotional to see her family again, emotional to open up to Joey, to tell him how she was feeling. Like it was a lot. We also found out a lot more about Rachel. We found out that she actually was dating someone prior who it was a very, very like, I don't know how long the relationship, but it was a very serious relationship to the point that they almost got engaged and then they broke up, and a lot of the family kind of had to help pick up the pieces and help her through that, which is why when we meet her parents, you can see that they are very like hesitant, and not necessarily with Joey. It was more about hesitant for their daughter because they loved their daughter. You could see the love that they had. It was like beautiful. Oh my God, it was so nice to see. But you could see that they were just like really just wanting to take care of their daughter, who they know has been extremely hurt in the past, and they've been there, and they just don't want her to go through that again. No parent wants to see their kid heartbroken and crying, and it's a horrible thing to have to do with your child who's going through a heartbreak, right? But Joey with the family, though, I will say, again, passed it with flying colors in my mind. He was very respectful of the family, which I really liked. He was very much enjoying the culture that he was doing all the games, and really I felt like he was having a good time with the family, was really, really putting his best foot forward. Dad and Rachel and her dad talk. This episode also really highlighted more than anything the relationship that all four of these women had with their dad. It wasn't just necessarily about their mom. It was like anytime they sat down with their dad, it was like their dad was like everything. It was like I love my dad, and it's not that I don't love my dad or anything like that, but like the way these people are being portrayed on TV, it's kind of like, wow, like they love their family. And you have Joey and Rachel's mom talk, and you could tell she's very serious. She's coming in with the question. She's like, I'm hesitant. There's 3 other women, and that's what everyone says. There's 3 other women. How are you supposed to differentiate which one is the one? All these things, which is a valid question. And of course, Joey knows how to answer it. He's like, I understand this is not the traditional way that you would meet your significant other, but I have really enjoyed my experience with your daughter. I'm very hopeful. All kind of that talk. And it's not that I think that Joey's being oh my God, what's the word? Indigenous. I forgot what the word is. Damn it. Disingenuous, I think is the word. Correct me if I'm wrong. I can't say the word for some odd reason. I don't think that about him at all. I really do think he believes that he is really much into every one of these women. Now, does he know who his top is? I think he kind of knows who his top 2 were at this point, but there's a show that must go on at the end of the day, right? But yeah, he also Joey also talks to her dad, and the dad he pretty much asks the dad, like, hey, if I go to the end with Rachel, like, I want to make sure I have your blessing. And her dad, I will say, doesn't say yes and he doesn't say no. He's kind of just like, hey, I trust Rachel. If you want to ask me that, you can call me. I was like, okay, it wasn't like a yes, so I don't know if that kind of deterred Joey or not. I couldn't tell in the moment. But then you have, at the very end, you have them sitting on the bench, and she's just like distraught. Like, she is sobbing, like crying, and she's like, I'm sorry, you never seen me like this. I can't believe this. I don't like crying in front of you. And he's like, no, it's okay. Just being there for him. And after lots of talk with her family, she pretty much, and I think what really sold it for her was talking to her sister, who told her, like, hey, I know you have these walls up, but I think you should give in to the process, give in to your emotions, like, just do it. And she ends up doing that. When she's talking to Joey, she pretty much tells him, like, I'm falling in love with you. The famous 4 words, falling in love with you. Sick 5, falling in love with you, falling in love with you. 5 words. The awesome 5 words of The Bachelor that every bachelor and bachelorette wants to hear. I'm falling in love with you, that no one ever says in real life. But yeah, he said, of course, that he is happy to hear it, and he feels hopeful. Again, feels hopeful. And, just all in all with Rachel, I do think he does have a connection with her. And I think he was trying to be very respectful when he was, like, with her, and not, like, you could just tell, like, he was being very respectful of the family and, like, really having boundaries and everything. But I don't know. I just feel like whenever he's with, like, when he's with Kelsey I feel like there's, like, a gravitation, like, there's, like, a pull, there's, like, this love that there's there. But I feel like it's missing with Rachel. I think he generally really likes her, and he might even be falling, but I do not think that Rachel will win. And I don't know, maybe she's the one who might send herself home next week based on that preview. I don't know. Or someone's sending themselves home, I think. But I don't know, I just don't think that Rachel is the winner. Like, I don't think she will win, which is, and nothing against her because I love her. She cracks me up. Oh my God, later on. We'll talk about it later in the rose ceremony. But, it was just like, I don't know. I feel like something isn't all the way there, in my opinion. But then we move on to Daisy, which her word is going to be Christmas. Yep, her word will definitely be Christmas, like sweet, or just like sweet. I like the word, I want to say sweet, because I think she is adorable. She shows Joey the Christmas tree farm that she like grew up on. They go and like do all these like fun like Christmas activities. They make little ornaments. They like go into this like they play with like little kids. They feed the alpacas. Like I'm just like, this is the cutest date ever. Like so cute. And what did Rachel do? Hey, welcome to Rancho Cucamonga, whatever, Rancho something in California, because obviously they couldn't go to Hawaii, so the family came over and they like rented. I don't know if that was somebody's home, which I feel like they said it was like one of their auntie's home, but I might be making that up. But I thought that was hilarious. I was like, okay, well, clearly you're telling us who the front runners are because you have freaking Kelsey walking around New Orleans being like, let's go here, let's do all these fun things. And then you just have him like meet in Rancho wherever in California, and then they go to a house and hang out. Like, not as fun. And then you have him at Daisy's where it's like, hey, let me show you my Christmas tree farm. And let me show you all the things we did as a kid. We had hot cocoa. We did alpacas. We're going to play. And then they had her friends there. That was another thing. Like, that was another level to me that I was like, okay. We even brought out the friends for freaking Daisy? Okay, she's definitely top two. Like, I just know, like, yeah, she's definitely top two. Because they didn't just bring, like, a friend to, like one of her best friends was there, right? No. They brought, like, her group of friends and surprised her at the little Christmas tree farm thing. I was like, okay, Bachelor, for producers, you're clearly telling us who the top two are based on the dates that they're getting with the Bachelor. It is very evident at this point. But yeah, you have like her meet her friends there, and she starts talking to them with Joey there about like what Joey has done for her, how safe she feels with him, how he's made her believe that she could find love again and all these things, because ever since she got like she had lost her hearing, she like just felt like she was different, and how he's made her feel. And she was like losing breath talking about it.
I'm gonna like have that forever, and like I know like what I deserve, and I'm just I'm really happy.
But she also does tell, the in her ITM that she does need her family's approval in order to move forward. So they meet at her house, which it was very clear that was like an actual home. It just seems like it was like their home, in my opinion. It was super sweet. Her grandparents were there. I'm like, what the hell? Even your grandparents are here? Like, it was a lot. There was a very sweet moment where she talks to her brother who's there, and she says, oh my God, like, Harrison, like, you actually sound like yourself, because supposedly ever since she lost her hearing and she got her cochlear implant, people weren't sounding like, they were starting to sound not as they originally were. So like it's starting to come back. And she said that this was the first time her brother had actually sounded like her brother to her. I was like, wow. Talk about some special moment and a timing, because Joey was there. It was like a very special moment for everyone in the family, and it was very emotional. And hers was emotional as well, but it was emotional in a very different way than it was like Kelsey's. Kelsey was like more of like a sad emotional almost, and this one was more like a happiness emotional. But we have Daisy and her mom talk, and she tells them like, hey, I see it with you guys, and she doesn't understand why she's actually hasn't been vulnerable with Joey, because that to her is surprising. And Daisy expresses how she's very confused, and she's like, I don't know why I have my walls up, I didn't think I would be like that, but I'm finding it very hard. And I actually forgot to mention, like, before this, like, Joey and her mom, Daisy's mom, talk, and she tells, like, she asks, like, oh, have you guys said I love you to each other yet? And he's like, no. And Daisy made it very clear that she wasn't going to tell me if she was falling in love with me until I had met her family and she had talked to you guys. And she was like, oh, okay. And then that's when she goes and talks to Daisy, and she tells Daisy, like, girl, what the hell? Like, why are you acting like this? Like, girl, this guy wants you. Like, open up, girl. Open Then you have again Daisy talk with her dad again with the dads in this episode. It was all about like the conversations with the dad, the daughter and the dads. It was just like wow, very very powerful. But he tells her that she has to give into it even though she's scared to get hurt, and she's like, yeah, I know, I am really scared, and she's like just crying. And like there's a part of me, and that I really do wonder if she actually is there or if she's going to be able to say like I'm in love with you. I feel like she's holding back for some reason, and I'm not sure if it's because she just doesn't think that she's ready, or maybe Joey isn't the one for her and she's just like holding back because she's like, what's going on? Like, am I falling in love with him? Do I love this guy? Is he the one for me? Like, maybe she's just like needs more time, and maybe this show is just like moving too fast for her, which is why at this point, if that becomes an issue, unless Kelsey breaks down the next episode, it's like Kelsey's pretty smooth sailing. Like, it doesn't seem like she's having any issues opening up, being vulnerable, being herself, showing her emotions, like just being in the process with Joey. And it seems like Joey really likes kind of steadiness. He doesn't like when there's bumps in the road and drama and things like that, because those people have knocked out of here, right? So I don't know. I really don't know, but it was very interesting because this whole time, she's like, I need my parents' approval. Like, I need my family's approval. And her family's just like, girl, like, what are you? He sounds great. Like, you guys look great together. I can see it with you guys. What is the issue? And I think she's really getting in her head. And in the end, she does tell him on the porch, that she is falling in love with him, and she has, and she was just, had to be with her family in order to really get clarity. But she does tell him, she's like, I am falling in love with you, and I have been. So I am in love with you. I am falling in love with you, and I have been falling in love with you, I think is what she said. Of course, he loves it. She tells him, like, you know what, I'm going to go full in, and I want to see what this could be, which was it was like the producers spoon-fed her the line. They're like, tell this to Joey because he's going to love it. If you say I'm full in, I'm not leaving, I'm going to be here for us, because it's going to be the exact opposite of Miss Maria last episode, which, she put the nail in her own coffin when she said that she was going to leave. Joey was done after that. Like, he was done. I'm going to talk about it in a couple minutes here, but of course, Joey loves the fact that Daisy told him that she's falling in love, and he feels very confident.
I'm just gonna like go for it wholeheartedly because I think there's something amazing here, and I want to see what it could be.
I feel the same way.
Good.
He probably said he felt very hopeful as well. I don't know if I missed that, but most likely. And then finally, my friends, we get into the hometown date of Maria, who, the funniest of all, and the adjective, the word of Maria is going to be the Godfather. Because, guys, they played this Italian music, like Godfather, the whole time her dad was talking. And it was spot on hilarious. I was laughing for most of her date, because I just could not get over, like, they're having a serious conversation and they have like this Godfather Italian music playing. It was genius. I mean, the editing was genius, but I'm getting ahead of myself. Okay, let's start from the beginning. So he meets her, and right away, I knew he felt very awkward. He felt very like standoffish. Like, you could tell that he wasn't as comfortable as he was with the other women. I knew right away that he was going to send her home. Like, you could just tell in his body language that he just wasn't there anymore. He does say in his ITM that he felt that he still feels very confused because she almost left. But yeah, I think that's, like I said, I think that's how she put her nail in her own coffin really at that day, because I think if she hadn't said, I think I'm going to leave, I think I can't do this, I think she would have had a little bit more of a chance. But then the moment he did that, he was like, nope, like, I don't want to deal with this drama. I don't want to deal with this uncertainty. Which is interesting, because Daisy didn't say, when Daisy told him, oh, I can't tell you I'm falling in love with you, he was like, oh, it's fine. And he still gave her a rose and it was okay. But the fact that she said, well, I'm going to leave, and he was like annoyed and pissed. Like you could just tell that he was just angry. Like he seemed more angry than anything. It wasn't even that he was like, oh no, like don't leave, I'm sad. It was more like, bitch, are you serious? Like he was more annoyed and angry than he was sad. And that right there told me, I'm like, I think he's going to send her home at some point. Like, I think last week when he gave her the rose, I think it's because he still knew he had a stronger connection with her than the other two. But at the end of the day, like, I think that just solidified the fact that, like, she was going to be too much for him and he just can't handle it at the end of it, right? But at the same time, you always see that when they're together, they just always have so much fun. She's so much fun. They end up going on the Maid of the Mist. And she brings up like they take like shots of like these little whiskey things she gives them. She's like, oh, let's do some shots. Like they're doing cartwheels and like having so much fun on this like boat, and it's so cute. Like if Joey like really was like into it, I think this would have been a really good match. But I think what really made this relationship suffer was all the drama that happened with Sydney and Leia and all that stuff. If that didn't happen, I think he would have had a better relationship with Maria. But I think the moment that Sydney started all these rumors, I think in his head he was already kind of like, he had her close, but not that close because those things were being put in his head. And then he didn't know what to believe. He didn't know what to trust. I don't think he fully ever trusted her again. Not that he ever lost trust, but I think he was always kind of like, I don't know, this girl's kind of all over the place. I don't know. So yeah, which is interesting because I know I've also heard of some people saying that they think like maybe he just couldn't really handle her. Like he was a little bit intimidated by her as well. And I do agree because she was so different than all the other women in that house, which is why I think the women had a problem with her because she was just herself. And I loved who she was. Like I would love to be friends with Maria. Just saying. I'm a Maria stan on this show. I absolutely love her. And I think that she did out of the experience by all this drama that was created for no darn reason at all. But because she's just so like, just saying what's on her mind, saying what she feels, people didn't like that. And I think that ended up messing her relationship up with Joey until the very end when at the end it was just like, oh, I think I'm going to leave. And then he was like, okay, well, I'm fucking done. Like, this is stupid. Like, I was saving you all this time and you want to leave now? Like, this is stupid. I think he was just upset and I don't think he was able to recover from that. But after they do what they made of the mist, they sit and they talk. And she says that she was scared and that's why that she almost left, but you could just tell he's just not as confident. And I think what also made it very obvious that he was most likely going to send her home was because he asked her, when was the last time you brought someone home? And she said, I've never brought anyone home. And he was like, you could see, and he was like, oh fuck, because in his mind he was saying in the ITMs like, well, first I'm honored that I would be that first person, but also how could you have gone all these years without opening up your heart to someone to the point that you could bring them home? And I was like, another against Maria, another point against her because she's like, I never brought anyone home. He's like, you're like almost 30. No one's ever met your family before. Have you never opened up yourself? Have you never loved someone enough? Like, what is the issue here? Like, it was bad. I was like, oh, fuck, Maria. I loved you, girl. I loved you. I can't wait to see you again. I mean, a lot of people are like, Bachelorette. But at the same time, I don't think the producers would be able to control her. And they need someone that they could be like, okay, you're going to do X, Y, and Z. And she's going to be like, well, no, I want to do STFBW. They're going to be like, no. You know, like she's not the typical cookie cutter, like a Daisy or a Kelsey kind of bachelorette that I think we would have. Very, very different. That's kind of the vibe of a bachelorette, not necessarily her. But hey, they did have, what's her name? Claire. They did have Claire. Claire was a bit of a do my own thing kind of thing. So you never know. Maybe. But we cut back to the house and you have the dad and the brothers and they're all just like, oh my God, like we've never had Maria here. We've never had Maria bring a guy home. We've never seen her be affectionate. Like this is going to be weird. And her dad is just like, loves this girl to no extreme. Like he is like, she is everything to me. She is my angel. She is my queen. She is everything. If this guy breaks her heart, he's going to have to respond to me. I was like, And the funniest thing is, while this is all happening, you got the Godfather music playing in the background. And I was like, I'm dead. I am dead with the Italian music. I am absolutely dead. Actually, turns out that they're half Greek. I didn't know. I thought she was like, just because they were playing that music, I thought she was like full Italian. But it turns out that they're half. She's half Greek and Italian, because when they come in, they meet the family, they all sit down, and he makes, like, the dad's like, yeah, these are Greek peppers and all this stuff. I'm like, oh my God, I love this family so fucking much. Oh my God, they're hilarious. So funny. So we have the big moment, which is Joey and her dad talking. Like I said, the whole time they're having this serious conversation that he needs to know that he's not, like, telling every other girl that he's in love with them and all this stuff. And the whole time this is going on, you hear the like the Godfather music the whole fucking time, guys. Oh my God, it was priceless. Absolutely priceless. I was dead. I was cracking up so hard.
And if you're telling me that I'm falling for her and you're telling the other three girls you're falling for them, to me, that doesn't mean anything, you know? And it's hard for me right now because I don't know where you stand.
Joey kind of, like, stands up to the dad, and he's just like, well, I just want to stop you. I want to let you know that, like, I haven't told any other girl that I'm falling in love with them, because that would not be fair to the other women, and I am waiting till the right moment to tell someone that actual feeling before I go there. And I think because of that, the dad was like, okay, you played your cards. Okay, I accept this. And then he ended up being, like, super cool. He was like, you know what? If Maria chooses you, you're going to be more than a son to me. I was like, so is he going to be your brother? Like, what does that mean if you tell someone, like, if you join this family, you're going to be more than a son to me? You know, like, I was like, the whole time I just wanted, like, to be like Italian and talk like this. I don't know. It was just hilarious to me. Oh my God, it was so funny. And again, such a serious conversation, but it was overshadowed by the fucking Godfather music that they were playing. That was just, but in the end, he does give him his blessing. He's kind of just like, if Maria accepts it, I will accept you. And that's it. And yes, you will have my blessing. I was like, okay, maybe there's a lot, maybe there's a way, maybe because of this, maybe Joy will be like, okay, well, maybe I should give her a chance. Unfortunately not, but you do have Maria and her dad then talk, and at first she tells them, you know, that she couldn't open up, but she has, and he's like, oh, are you falling in love with him? And she's like, starts crying. I'm like, well, clearly, yes. And her dad's like, hey, I want you to open up, you know, open up to this journey, and that he could see their love. And he's just like, yeah, he asked me for permission to marry you. And I said, yes. And she's like, what? Oh my God. And she's crying. She's so emotional. And she's, you know, at an ITM, she's like, I have to tell Joey how I feel. I have to tell him that I'm falling in love with him and all this stuff. And guys, they're sitting outside, they're talking, and she's just like, I just want you to know that I'm so happy that you came. And I'm like, no.
Yeah, you know, I feel very strong about you, and it continues to grow, that's for sure. I appreciate you being here.
I said, no, Maria, no. She didn't say it. And then, like, she was like, it was kind of weird the way it was timed, the way they kind of produced it, or the way she said it, because at first she says, like, well, I didn't tell him because why should I have to? What am I scared of? Like, why am I saying this if I don't need to? You know, like, I think she was, like, very trusting that, like, well, if I don't tell him, like, he should know that I feel this way. And I feel very confident in our relationship enough to not have to tell him that. I think that's what she says at first. But then when the car goes away, then you kind of hear her in her ITM being like, shit, I regret it. I should have told him. And I might regret this. I don't know why I didn't do it. And so it was kind of weird the way it was, like, kind of presented to us, because it was like 1 second she was like, well, I didn't want to tell him because, like, why should I? Like, I'm confident. And then, like, a second later she's like, oh, I regret it. I'm like, wait. So how do you really feel, kind of thing, right? But yeah, she didn't tell him, and I'm like, fuck, that's when you really just really ended it, right? But then we go into the airport hangar for the roses, which I love a good airport hangar. The ladies are in these gowns that are absolutely beautiful. Kelsey and Maria, winners. Winners in my book with these outfits. Oh, gorgeous. They looked fucking gorgeous. Oh my God. So Joey gets there. He's about to talk. And he's like, and as he talks, Maria's like, wait, Joey. I was like, fuck. I was like, she's going to tell him she loves him now, but it's going to be too late. It's going to be too late. Like, oh, fuck. She says, can I talk to you? And he's like, okay, yeah. And, it was so funny because, like, you could tell the women are like, what the fuck? Like, what is going on? Like, and yeah, like we all expected. She's like, I didn't want the other girl to hear, but like, I just need to tell you this because I don't want to regret it. She's like, I didn't tell you because I was scared, but I am falling in love with you. And I'm like, oh, fuck. And I didn't want to tell you because I don't want to regret you not knowing and you not. And I don't want to regret not telling you and you just never knowing. And she's like, I understand whatever your decision is and this won't affect anything or something like that. And then he's just like, okay. And I'm like, oh, fuck. At this point, it didn't matter. Like his mind was already made up because like you see her leave and he just kind of sits there. There was no ITM moment about him being like, oh no, now this changes things or like I need more time or nothing. Like he was just kind of like waited there. You saw him kind of thinking, and then he just went back to give out the roses. And I'm like, she's not getting one. She's not getting one. And she gets back, and Rachel is so pissed. She's like so annoyed. She's like, girl, what the hell was that about?
Sorry.
What was that about?
I don't know.
You don't know?
Freaking out.
You don't know, but
Sorry.
you asked him to tell me.
It wasn't. It was just what I had to do in the moment. I'll tell you one day. Sorry.
Wait, what?
Like rolling her eyes. She's like so annoyed. This is the second time she's been annoyed because what was it, last week? Was it last week? I guess so. I guess it was last week when he brought Maria out just to ask her if like she was in this. And this time Maria interrupts. Oh my God. It was bad. It was bad, y'all. It was bad. But yeah, so then in this moment, I knew, okay, I was like, okay, it's going to be Daisy or Kelsey first. Then he said Daisy first. I was like, okay, very, very confident about Daisy. Very. Then I knew it was going to be Kelsey, which it was. And I was like, okay. In this moment, I wrote in my notes, in the moment, I had no idea. It's kind of hard to talk about it like a day later because I'm filming this a day later. Because in the moment, I really was kind of like, oh my God. Like, could he surprise us? Could he change his mind? Could he? Even though in the pits of my stomach, I knew that he was going to pick Rachel. And so I had my eyes closed. I was literally like, I don't even want to see which direction he looks. I just want to hear it. So I was like this. And then he says Rachel. I was like, fuck, Maria, goodbye. Goodbye, my girl. Maria, my girl. Goodbye. Goodbye, girl. And, he walks her out and he tells her that unfortunately he still had doubts about her and he just couldn't overcome them. And I'm like, I mean, that's what we all saw. We could all tell that he could not overcome all the stuff that came before, which I already mentioned, which was all the drama, her wanting to leave, all of that just really, I think, solidified for him that he just couldn't go with her. And to be honest, she doesn't really say much to him. She kind of just like, yep, okay. And he kind of just talks the whole time. And then she's just like, okay, thank you. And then she just gets up and walks, doesn't really say anything about like her feelings or nothing. She just walks up and leaves. And you could just tell she is upset. She says that this sucks. What more could she have done? Like she did everything she could and it still wasn't enough. Like, how much do I have to give him?
But I should have told him how I felt a lot sooner than I did. And that's my biggest regret.
And then she says that she does regret not telling him sooner. Yeah. Oof. It was the moment she said she was going to leave. She's gonna regret that forever. It's gonna be the women tell all, and she's gonna be regret talking about how much she regrets it. Like, I'm waiting for the women tell all, because Maria's gonna be there. They're gonna talk about the drama. You're gonna have Joey come out and talk to her, and it's gonna be a whole ordeal. And I can't wait for Joey to be like, I am so sorry that the women treated you like this, and I believed it. I cannot believe it, because Joey's watching what we're seeing, right? So I don't know. But also at the same time, it could be that like whoever he chooses is also like, yeah, but they're not showing everything that happened. You know, there could be so much. But regardless, that was the end of the hometowns. We're going to have a Rachel, Daisy, and Kelsey A in the running for Joey's heart. Like I said, I think the top two are going to be Kelsey A and Daisy, unless one of them sends themselves home and Rachel makes it to the top two. I don't know if that's just me. But it's Mexico. We see the Golden Bachelorette ladies are there. I think we see Susan, women from the Golden Bachelor there, to give advice. And then we have the famous "We Need to Talk" letter. Guys, I am so looking forward to seeing what this letter is. I have no idea who it is. I mean, I don't have any idea. I have my thought. I have my picks. I think it might be Rachel because you do see her kind of really breaking down, talking about the other women, and you kind of don't really see her like in an overnight situation, like with Joey packing his bags as he leaves, like you saw him with Daisy and Kelsey. I'm gonna rewatch this ending, to be honest with you, because I feel like I didn't see her having like an overnight kind of thing, and I feel like she might be sending herself home. I don't know, I just have a feeling. And if that's the case, let's see who Joey's gonna end up with. But guys, let me know, what did you think about the hometowns? Did you like this episode? Did you think that it was the right choice to send Maria home, or were you thinking it was going to be Rachel? I don't know. Let me know in a comment below. But guys, if you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. Helps me out, helps out this channel. And if you're not already subscribed, I'm sorry, what? Click that subscribe button. And if not, it'll be fine. The world moves on. Anyway, guys, thank you so much, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye! Oh my god, the whole time, the only thing I could think about was literally like, I'm gonna give him an offer he can't refuse.